Weatherly started driving for me in 1961. Well, we won the championship. Back then it was the Grand National Championship in 1962 and 1963. We were running a Pontiac, and we run Pontiac 61, 62, and we got up to about the middle of 63, and Pontiac had already told us that they would not be back next year, that they were pulling out their support and all this.
For Joe Weatherly, GM's pullout could have been disastrous. He won the championship in convincing fashion in '62, but in '63, Bud Moore told Joe he would only prepare his Pontiac for the major races. Weatherly would not be discouraged. He proceeded to bum rides from lesser-known car owners for the small events. In all, he drove for 10 different teams in 53 races. He squeaked by Richard Petty for his second NASCAR crown.
Little Joe was kind of a superstitious person. He had a pair of tennis shoes that needed to belong in the scrap barrel a long time ago, but he was sentimental to those shoes. He was real superstitious. If you threw a peanut in his car, he would not get in it until it was cleaned out.
They all named him the clown prince of racing in NASCAR and this stuff, and he's always liked to pull jokes on everybody. And
More Weatherly and Turner, it used to be the driver could collect the money. When they collected the money, they kept going with it. We had to get it fixed, so we collected the money. We run a half a year and never get any money. They just take it and go home.
But when it come time to sit down in that race car, when they dropped that green flag, now it was all business. And Joe won a lot of races, and he was considered one of the greatest race drivers there ever was in NASCAR, and I consider him that myself.
Joe Weatherly was determined to run his absolute best at every race. Ironically, it could have been that drive that ended his career and his life. At Riverside in 1964, Joe fell out with transmission problems. He insisted the crew fix the car and get him back on the track.
We were only a couple of laps down, and Joe was really running hard. And, he went into turn 5, and he lost the right front wheel cylinder. And the car got airborne, got in the wall going into turn 6. And I think right today, if we'd had the safety nets on the side, the window, I think Joe would still be here today. The situation, he got into a concrete wall, and his head hit the wall.
Though his career was cut short, Joe Weatherly scraped his way to 25 victories, many of them in second-rate equipment. He also won 2 straight NASCAR championships, and one thing is sure, the Clown Prince always had fun in the process. Weatherly's death was the beginning of one of the most tragic seasons in NASCAR history. 4 months later, in the World 600, Ned Jarrett, Junior Johnson, and Fireball Roberts crashed. Fireball's car flipped over and flaming gasoline engulfed the cockpit.
My car remained upright all through this, and the cars landed, I guess, about 30 feet apart. So I immediately got out of my car and went over to see if I could help him, and he was in the process of coming out of his car. He had already unbuckled his seatbelt and shoulder harness and was trying to crawl out, but his shoe apparently had gotten caught on something and was having a little bit of a struggle, so I just reached around his shoulders and jerked him and pulled him out, because remember, it ripped the top part of his shoe off.
Roberts was burned severely. He died 2 months later from complications. Sadly, Fireball had confided to friends that he was thinking of retiring after that fateful race.
And he said, I'm going back to Charlotte, and I'm going to drive that race. And he said, I've already talked to Ford, and they're going to let me out of the contract. And he said that I don't want to run that race. He said, but I really feel like I should, you know, finish it up because I qualified the car and all. But he said, after I qualified the car, I had a long talk with myself and decided to get the hell out of this thing.
The tragedies of '64 weren't over yet. In September, again at Charlotte, one of the sport's most popular young drivers, Jimmy Pardue, was killed during a tire test. By then, many drivers were calling for steps to improve safety. The Roberts accident prompted the use of fire-preventative fuel cells, and Goodyear developed the inner liner tire, which prevents loss of control in a blowout. But by far the biggest change came when NASCAR banned the Hemi engine.
They wanted